Hello everyone, it's Simon here from High Playing Games. Hope you're all having a great day and welcome to Deep Blue, a Kula World-like adventure platformer and puzzler. Although this one's more on avoiding things and going as quickly as you can as opposed to trying to work out the best way across. I'm going to dive right the way back to the beginning so that I can show you what happens across this game. You can use the controller or mouse or keyboard to control your device. What I will say is that the menus work better though on mouse and so on and so forth. So let me dive straight in on the level 1. So you control this little guy, and as you can see each level is like a cubular maze for you to get round. And the idea is for you to get from one end to the other so that you can get out of the portal and escape. And I'm playing with the default guy so that I can go at a certain pace, but as you can see you can roll around on all different types of parts of the level. So immediately you're kind of like, right, I need to be able to work out how I move in a three-dimensional space environment, because otherwise you're going to struggle. It takes some getting used to if you've not played with one of these types of games before. There aren't too many of them out there that do full like 360 rotating around of a level. But once you get the hang of it, actually it's okay. So each level is then awarded out of 3 stars. 1 for you passing, 1 for you collecting gravitrons, which weren't in these levels, and I'll explain that in a bit, and the other one is for getting under a certain time. Now, each level will have tentacles on, because at the beginning of the game a ginormous tentacle that they call Comet, which makes no sense to me, comes in and smashes your world to bits. So as you can see, if I continue on this plane, I'll just avoid the tentacle altogether. But what you'll find is that in the future, those tentacles will be every bloody where. And so you'll be reacting quite quickly to what goes on around you. The next thing you've got is a boost, which you can do by pressing A or space. Or actually up. So let's go to a different plane so that we avoid that tentacle. And we'll avoid that tentacle as well. Just get straight to the end. Ta-da! So the 2 big things that make this game much more taut and more of a challenge is these 2 things here. So each level will have a point for you to get to, and I'm going to go that way because I've played this level enough times to know that there is a tentacle waiting for me on the other side. And as soon as you hit that yellow point, you then only have a few seconds, depending on what level it is that you're on, to get to the portal before it closes. If you don't get there before it closes, the whole world explodes instead of being sucked into the portal. So that's crux number 1. Crux number 2 comes in the next level, which is where you need to collect these gravitrons, these green shards, for you to keep the charge of gravity on your rolling ball to stay on the stage. Otherwise you just fall off. And as soon as the bar ends, it's game over, because the space is such a hyper 3D environment. Now, thankfully, a lot of these are on your way to where you need to go anyway, which is quite good. But sometimes those gravitrons aren't. And if you're running on a race against time on some of the, on all of the later levels to be fair, there we go. Ooh, just with a second to go. Good job I used a little bit of boost there. You're going to struggle, essentially. And it's those 2 tricks of the world that really start to make things quite difficult, because you're going to need to do repeated runs of levels to ensure that you perfect things right. If you struggle with the 3D dimensions, that will also be an issue to you as well. And as you can see, going faster uses more of the gravitrons anyway. And I've got to the end of that, but I'll only get 2 stars at best because I haven't got all the gravitrons, because the second one is not in view, but I was well under the time limit, so clearly I've got time to run around and get back and try and get it. And that's essentially how each of the levels work. Let me just dive out. There's a couple of weird... Oh, hang on, let's do this one because this one's a bit cray-cray. So you will get tentacles by surprise as you dive along. Now there's a couple of weird little bugs that I've come across. You can see more and more things starting to get in my way are coming through. Have I gone the right way? Yes, I am. Oh, no, I haven't. Hit the ball. Never mind. So there's a couple of weird little bugs that I've found that come on. Controlling the menu with the controller is quite difficult and clunky. It doesn't really work. The other one comes in this mode. So you have the ability to buy upgrades to your ball, which is fabulous because there's certain things like tentacles can't harm you, purple boxes can't harm you. What they don't tell you though, and I don't know if it's a bug or a feature, depending on who you'd speak to, I'm sure it'll be one or the other. You start off with 200 of this currency. So I bought the 150 speed, 150 points one, but it's now taken away my kyanite, and I've now no longer got that because I switched back to the beginning one so that I could review it. And when I was noticing, I tried to switch back. I was like, doesn't work. So I don't know if that's a bug or a feature. If not, it doesn't explain it very well, if at all. I feel that that's slightly misleading because I don't know yet how I get more kyanites to get stuff. So yeah, you've also got other stuff that you've got for power-ups and things like that will come through as well. All in all, for £1.99, this isn't a bad game at all, but it's one of those ones I always find with these 3D like Kula World style puzzles. You either really get into it or you really don't. And the beauty of Kula World and that type of thing was that you had a really nice atmosphere and it wasn't tense, so that you could orientate yourself, into the right spatial environment to understand where you're going. With this game, you're not given that luxury, and I think that will be the crux as to whether this game will be for you or not be for you. If you're fine with that and you want to go for high score time trial challenge, then go for Deep Blue. It's actually quite a good game for that. If that's not for you, I don't think this game will really do much for you. That was very dramatic music there. On that note, thank you very much for watching. Thanks to the developer for sending me across a copy to take a look at, and stay tuned for a video every day here on Higher Plane Games. Bye for now.